The Hanslope Show Podcast. Your village, your podcast. It's all about Hanslope.
Hello, I'm Trev and welcome to the Hanslope Show Podcast. This month a busy show as ever. Got 3 people to hear from. But of course, thank you once again to you for listening and sharing. So many people, both in Hanslope but also far and wide as well, are listening to the show. So wherever you are, thank you for joining us, and please spread the word. You can, of course, get in touch with events, and if you want yourself on the podcast as well, trevor@thisismyfilm.com is my email address, or message me through Facebook. And either way, we'll get hold of each other, and we'll try and get you on as soon as we can. Now, this month, 3 very special people we talked to. First up, we're going to hear from Jill, who is the clerk of the Hanslope Parish Council.
I think we have quite a good balance. We're not wasting money on lots of salaries or loads of admin and unnecessary bits of paper and bureaucracy.
We're going to hear from Ben, who tells us the story of one of our oldest clubs in the village.
Annoyingly, they're a little bit better than us.
And finally, we're going to hear from Adam from Hague Property Professionals.
There's such an array of different property styles there. It's fantastic because the choice is endless, but you get that community feel.
Now, I must just say a massive thank you to Adam because when I started the podcast, I wanted to make it sustainable, and I truly believe we have so many stories to tell, and the way to make it sustainable is to have a show podcast sponsored. And that's exactly what Hague Property Professionals have done. They're an independent estate agent in Stony Stratford, have done quite a bit of work over here, and as you'll hear, Adam's mum is part of Heart and Soul Choir in the village as well, but more on that to come soon. But again, thank you to Adam Young, who's the MD at Hague Property Professionals. With his help, and also the Hanslope Parish Council, we can carry on producing the podcast and getting those stories out there and making sure that they are archived forevermore and as part of our village history.
The Hanslope Show Podcast. Your village, your podcast. It's all about Hanslope.
So up first this month, what makes our village tick? Well, this lady might be able to fill that in for you.
So I'm Jill Merry, and I am the clerk and RFO to Hanslope Parish Council, and RFO stands for Responsible Financial Officer.
Okay, you look responsible.
Thank you.
So tell me how long you've been involved with Hanslope.
6 years now, coming up on 7 this year. So this is my second clerking job.
Do you enjoy it? You must enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. I'm very lucky in that the Parish Council are happy for me to work from home. But a couple of times a week I come up to Hanslope and do a lot of stuff that people don't realise. Just lots of checking, meeting contractors, organising things, and lots of health and safety compliance stuff for the buildings and the grounds.
25 hours a week is what you do?
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's a lot to be done for a club, which obviously you just touched on the surface there of some of the things you do.
Yeah, so a lot of people think we just book out the village hall and sort out the allotments, but we do a lot. There's a lot of administration work, and it's all statutory, so we have to do it by law. So every month the accounts have to be not only balanced but also transparent, so things have to be published, and they have to be published to certain time frames and in certain places so anyone can check us. We have to comply with the law, which often involves knowing what recent changes are in legislation for local government and for our little sector at parish level. We have 2 audits, financial audits, an internal and an external. And the internal also involves governance checks to make sure that we are abiding by all the various rules. And then I have lots of meetings, just mostly from home. They can be with our lawyers, they can be with accountants, they can be with training sessions to keep us updated, and also little meetings in between the big monthly meeting with our councillors, because they keep busy from meeting to meeting as well.
So it's a lot about relationships with people, not only in the village but also contractors and people that help make this village tick.
Yes, I manage most of the contracts, and the councillors work with me on that, including we're responsible for the verges in the village and the hedges. We're responsible for the ponds, we're responsible for the recreation ground, so that's all landscape management, and those are quite hefty contracts. and those have to go out to tender every 3 years, so I prepare all the tender documents and so on. We have a bin contract, bin emptying. In fact, we have 2, one for the rec ground and one for the village. We have a village caretaker who people might see around picking litter, and she's a really lovely person. We have a team of cleaners and various contractors. We try to use local people as much as we can, so we have contractors in the village, keep it local, but sometimes you have to go further afield.
What's the biggest challenges for your job? Imagine time, because it sounds like there's a lot to do. Time
is a challenge, but it is manageable. And I have a very supportive council, so if I was ever drowning, I would be able to speak to them. I suppose the biggest challenge is that you can't just do things that you want to do. For example, if it comes under another statutory body like the NHS, we can't touch it. If it comes under Milton Keynes Council, the Borough Council, we can't touch it. Highways, we can't have anything to do with that, much as we would really love to fix the potholes and sort out the speeding cars and the parking. We don't have any jurisdiction over that. We can try and have conversations, but it's difficult. The Borough Council doesn't have any money and they tend to work in their own vacuum. But we try if we can. In terms of buying things, I can't just go out and buy things because it's public money. So that often has to wait till a parish council meeting for the councillors to approve it, and then I can purchase things or not. So, sometimes it's those time frames that can be frustrating, I think.
So you mentioned money. Let's just ask, in terms of funding for the parish council, can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yes, so we're funded by something called the Precept, which is given to us, if you like, by the Borough Council. That's where it comes from. And they gather money from local taxes, from people's tax bills. So that's how I would say 80-90% of our work is funded. So when you get your your council tax bill once a year, it will have on it the little parish council proportion of that. It's usually tiny compared to the borough council proportion, but that funds us. And every year I do a pie chart, and if anyone's interested, they'll look at it. But it usually shows that around 30% of our expenditure goes on salaries and admin, and the other 70 goes on projects and looking after the village. So I think we have quite a good balance. We're not wasting money on lots of salaries or loads of admin and unnecessary bits of paper and bureaucracy. The vast majority of the money goes into things for the village. So I think we're quite proud of that. If anyone wants to know, they can always get the figures. It's all published. That's another thing, we have to publish all our finances on our website, so it's all there.
Busy. And it is good to know the proportion of what goes where and where it's spent. That's really important, isn't it? Yeah,
we try and keep bureaucracy to a minimum because that's how, the civil servants operate, and the borough council is quite bureaucracy heavy, and we try to just get things done as much as we can.
Yeah. So in terms of the council, and here we are in the pavilion overlooking the wreck, which is being used this evening, which is great.
I know, it's lovely. Now we've got some lighter evenings, and the children playing football up there this evening are under 6. So there's lots of little people running around.
Yeah, good to see it looking busy. So here we are, and you're preparing for the meeting this evening.
Yes.
So tell me how a parish council is made up and who gets involved? And volunteers, they pay? Tell me the whole...
Yes, technically we don't call them volunteers, although it is a voluntary role, but they are actually holders of public office. So we are always encouraged for them to see themselves as holders of public office, the same as a district councillor or even an MP, because they do have powers to do things that ordinary members of the public don't have and can't do. Having said that, it is a voluntary role, and we do have a vacancy, which I would like to say out loud on the podcast, and we have had for for a little while actually. Our governance rules allow us to have 9 councillors, no more, no less. And we've currently got 8 because we lost our lovely Councillor Pacheco about 6 months ago, I think, and he was always very hands-on, so we do miss him, but he's moved away from the village. So we've had a vacancy for ages. I've been advertising it, putting it on social media. We've had very little interest. And the thing I always say to prospective councillors is you don't have to go in lock, stock and barrel, because it can take over your life and it can become quite stressful, and because they're not paid to do it, who wants that? Nobody wants that kind of stress and overload. So if you get involved and just do a little bit, do it well, stick with it, do what interests you and work with me and I'll work with you, then it can be quite enjoyable. We have a really, really nice team of councillors, and everyone stays in their lane, does their bit, and it kind of all comes together quite well. So if anyone would like to volunteer, they do have to give up a little bit of time, but it doesn't have to be onerous.
And good life experience too, and good to do your bit for the village, but also I imagine you learn quite a bit in terms of how a parish council work.
Yes, and some of the councillors really enjoy that. They enjoy finding out what they can do. Once they get over what they can't do, they really enjoy navigating through those obstacles and finding ways of getting stuff done. They enjoy sometimes the working relationship we have with the borough council, such as it is, and other local bodies, to just make sure we can do the best we can for Hanslope. Others are much more interested in just hands-on, like the allotments or something like that, and that's fine. Everyone must do what they're interested in.
In terms of our village, and what are the challenges that the parish council face?
I would have said a few years ago the amount of new developments, but those are now here and they're built and people have moved in, and we as a council instigated in 2019 a neighbourhood plan. That was 2 years' work by quite a big team of, again, volunteers, not just parish councillors, but other residents. And that has been really pivotal in holding off some more large developments that have come our way, because the planning officers at the planning authority have to take your neighbourhood plan into consideration when they're deciding on applications. And ours has held quite a lot of weight, and we haven't had any of, since Hayfields, down Castlethorpe Road, we haven't had any large developments, so we're hoping that is going to hold. It was revised last year and that went through the whole compliance process and has been deemed acceptable by the Highways Authority, so it's still holding water. Little small developments are possible, but those big ones, hopefully we've seen the end of that. So far the government seems to be holding to neighbourhood plans, so fingers crossed. With that has come a different wave of people coming into the village from the traditional farming community of long ago, and I think it's not so much a negative as a positive, in that there are lots of people now to patronise things that happen in the village, come to clubs, get involved in sports or whatever's on offer, and go to the pub, buy takeaways, all of that. So it seems to be working, but the parish council kind of navigates through that. We try to provide as much sport and leisure activities as we can with the buildings we've got and the infrastructure. And as you probably are aware, we're hoping to build a new community centre here on the Wreck. So we're still in the fundraising stage of that at the moment. All
challenges, but it does seem that we have navigated that, or definitely the parish council have navigated that very well. And communication, I imagine, is key to your involvement in the village.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we use any communications tool open to us. Our website is updated regularly. Our Facebook is updated regularly. And a little known fact, people are actually welcome to come to council meetings and observe, and they can even speak at the beginning if they have something to bring to our attention. So I think we communicate fairly well, and people can always phone me or email me in between times, and they do. Our councillors are very approachable on the whole, and the ones who don't mind being phoned up have their phone numbers published on the website, and they are very open and very approachable. And we've got the annual meeting of the parish, not the parish council. It used to be called the open meeting, but anyway, it's the same difference. And that's on the 12th of April, if that's a Monday, it's around then. And we use the big hall next door, and people can come. The councillors will give a little presentation at the beginning, the chairman will give an address, and then there's an open floor, the people can ask us things, bring things to our attention, or even talk about what they're doing. You know, we've had presentations from the Scouts and the football and that kind of thing in the past.
With regards to improving the village, there's the SR106 money, the development money that we get from the larger developments in the village. Can you give me an update on that, if you don't mind? Not
numerically, I don't hold that in my head.
No, but just in terms of what the process...
I can give you a broad brush stroke of it. And in fact, any member of the public can go on the Milton Keynes Council website onto a site called Exicom, and that gives you a real-time update of what's available for Hanslope in each category. So anyone can do that. We have spent quite a lot of S106 money already. There's a bit of a misconception that there's millions flying around in the village. The big mugger AstroTurf that we put in 3 years ago mopped up quite a lot. We've also done some sizable projects at the allotments, the 2 cricket nets here and the outdoor gym. So there is some left. We haven't used all of it, but it's not millions. And what's left has been ring-fenced for the new community centre. Milton Keynes have been really good at working with us on that, so they've actually earmarked that money, so there isn't a lot sloshing around. It is a little frustrating, because it's earmarked for certain things, so you can only use it for those things. Like there's lots of money for public art, but we don't particularly need public art. We would love to have that money for the community centre, and then when it's built we will do art in the building, but we don't need statues or sculptures just at the moment, but we can't use that for anything else. There's a lot of money for things like libraries. There's even money for health, but it's not for the doctor's surgery. So it's all tied up in legal language, and it's quite delineated as to what it can be used for. So we're working with what there is, and trying to get as much out of it as we can.
Okay, lovely. Well thanks, Gillian. You really have made it very, very plain of what the parish council is and what it does.
And if anybody would like to volunteer to be on the council, we would love to meet them. My email is clark@hanslopeparishcouncil.gov.uk, and the phone number is 07383 091 319. So please get in touch.
Well, let's hope so. And it's a really important job that happens here in the pavilion.
Yes, in this funny little building. We actually do some really interesting stuff, I think.
A massive thanks to Jill, and a fascinating conversation about how our village works in terms of our parish council. And of course, if you would like to become a member of the council, now you know how to get in touch. Now, up next is a massive thank you to Adam Young. He's the Managing Director of Hague Property Professionals, and he's sponsoring the Hanslope Show podcast, which makes it sustainable for the future, which means we can produce more episodes and get your club on, your story, your business. That's what it's all about. I went to see Adam over in Stony Stratford and had a chat with him and actually, first of all, started our conversation by saying, look, why do you want to get involved and sponsor the Hanslope Show podcast?
I think it's all about being local. I love the fact that it's Hanslope. My mum lives in Hartwell. Obviously, you told me Heart and Soul Choir, which she's part of. We're on the show last week. We're doing some work in Hanslope. I want to do more there. But I also like supporting local and independents, because me being one myself, I think that works better.
Now, in terms of an estate agent, how long have you been in the business?
Myself, over 10 years. Collectively, with my guys, probably 40, 50 years plus. and Haig's been 5 years this year.
And you're an independent, of course, estate agent.
Independent, owner-led, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and why is that important?
Gives me the flexibility to actually provide a service and not be bound by KPIs, targets, hierarchy. We're here to make it better for the end user. So flexible contracts, pricing, but we'll always give our independent thought on it. And if you want to work with us, great. If you don't, that's great too.
Now, in terms of flexibility, as you mentioned, just give me an example of that in your business.
Well, I don't like being tied into contracts. So most estate agents, 12, 24-week contracts tied in, tell you what they want to hear and then reduce you down. We'll put a 0-week tie-in. Simple. If you listen to what we're telling you, we're here to sell your house, not sell your contract. We have to have an agreement, but we'll do that. Different marketing plans. We can have a higher media package, lower media package. We can be flexible with what we're doing, but ultimately sell your house the best way we can.
And it is all about people, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the forefront of it. It's always a privilege to be invited in someone's home, and you can't forget that.
Okay, so we're getting into a time of year where I think the perception is that it's a good time to market a property. Am I right in thinking that?
It helps. It helps. Flowers, sunlight, extra daylight, later viewings. It helps. It always comes down to 3 key things, and it's all about price. There's 3 key prices that sell a home. There's your emotional price, which is what your home's worth to you. Mine's worth £1 million to me. Would it sell for that? No. The marketing price has to be emotional as well, because you want to drive people through the door. And then the market will always dictate what the final sale price will be. We can give you an idea, we can guide you, but the market will always dictate it in the end.
Tell us what you know about Hanslope in terms of a market itself. We as a village seem to think that we're in a pretty good spot in between Milton Keynes and Northampton. It's a good location. It's
a great spot. It's easily commutable into Northampton, into Milton Keynes, into Buckingham. You've got great train routes, so you can get north and south as well, even jumping onto the Wolverton line. Drenched in history, which we know. You've got the little hamlets on the corner like Tattle End. You've got good routes through to Newport Pagnell, out towards Olney, if you want to cut out through that way as well. And there's such a range of different homes there, from Georgian to Edwardian to thatched cottage to modern day living. I mean, a friend of mine owns one of the apartments in the old vicarage. There's such an array of different property styles there. It's fantastic because the choice is endless, but you get that community feel. And then you've got the playing fields, you've got the church, you've got everything that you need on your doorstep, but with the convenience of a town centre just a 10-minute drive away.
If someone's maybe thinking about putting their property on the market, what's the best tips you can give them in terms of getting it ready?
Declutter. When you sell your car, not to teach people to suck eggs, but you clean it. Make your beds, have your toilet seats down, declutter. Anything that you haven't used in 3 months, put in a box and put in a cupboard. You want it to feel like a home, but you want people to envisage their items there. So their picture frames, their sofas, their dining room table. And I always say fresh flowers. If you've got neutral colours throughout the house, add a pop of colour with fresh flowers. Smells make people think that they're a home as well. It's something that's underrated, I think, here in the UK. I think home staging is underrated in the UK. You need to give people that imagination of them living in that home. Clothes on the floor, overflowing wash basket, just make it neat, make it tidy. And it's just simple things. It's making the house look presentable but feel like a home. And we want to be able to convey that in the media, whether it be video, whether it be a reel, whether we're on camera, we're off camera, photos, stills. You want to be able to portray that across. And also, when you're talking to an agent, and with it's us, it's great. If it's another, provide as much information as you can about what you've done to the property. Because knowledge is power, and if we can provide everyone, because everyone shops at the £10,000 shop, and they go, that's new windows, it's 10 grand. It's a new kitchen, it's 10 grand. I don't know where the shop is, I've never been, but everyone shops at the 10,000, and you want to give them as little capability to say that they need to shop there.
Your mum lives close to Hanslope,
yep.
You said in Hartwell, so she obviously loves living around there as well.
Yeah, she's in a walking group that goes into Salsey Forest, what does she call the bus? I can't call it, but it takes them backwards and forwards and around. And they've performed in Hanslope and at the village parade one summer. I know Heart and Soul were on there, and they performed there, and we went along and watched and supported. And I've got friends who live in Hanslope, and yeah, I've been going in and out of there for God knows how long. Not necessarily just as a cut through to Hartwell. One of my friends actually lives on the big house at the end of Long Street, which they bought, and they love it. They absolutely love it there because it's safe, it's community-led, it's comfortable, and it's a nice place to be.
That's Adam Young from Hague Property Professionals, who are now sponsoring the Hanslope Show podcast. And once again, I can't stress enough, it enables us to carry on and produce the podcast every month. Brilliant. Adam, thank you so much. Now, on to one of our oldest clubs here in the village, the Hanslope Cricket Club. And I caught up with Ben recently, and he's been playing with them for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I've played for the cricket club for, well, a long while, over 30 years, actually. I'm currently the fixed secretary and the treasurer, actually, and so that's my role. So, I've been involved with the cricket club for over years, been on the committee for too long to remember. It's probably since the millennium, you know, so 25 years, I think, yeah.
But it is. We were saying before, off air, as it were, that it's quite a challenge that the club is still going after 80 years.
Well, that's right. I mean, so this year's our 80th year. I mean, we formed officially after the war. I mean, there was cricket in the village before that, but actually we officially formed after 80 years. And I mean, even only, 20 years ago, a lot of the local villages had cricket clubs. And now if you look, a majority of them have actually folded because, of course, they don't do cricket in schools, you know, and so it's harder and harder to get, you know, people really interested in it. So the fact that we survived for 80 years is incredible, really.
Tell us your earliest memory of joining.
Oh, my earliest memory is actually a bad one. So again, it's a club team that used to have Deansacre used to have a cricket team back in the day, and we went over there. It was a Sunday, and it was early 90s, sometime like that, and it was raining, it was wet, it was horrible. It was a horrible day, and I don't know if Deansacre, when the brickworks used to be there, everything used to be orange. And so you go over to Deansacre, and it was a wet day. We shouldn't have been playing, and I dropped a catch, but we won't mention that. But I mean, so we played for 20 overs. Then we thought, God, at least it's get a tea. We went in for tea, and all we got was a corned beef sandwich and a mug of tea. However, how I turned up again the next week, God only knows. But I mean, dear, oh dear.
Well, actually, you know, you mentioned the teas and things and the social side of it, and that's a massive part, of course, of being in a village cricket club, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, I've got to say though, since lockdown, things have really changed. So a lot of clubs actually don't do teas anymore.
Oh, really?
We used to in the village. We used to do the best tea around.
Yeah,
right, always used to be
course.
really, really good tea, and we still do a good one. But many teams, don't do one now. They just, stop doing it just because the difficulty is actually, again, it's a bit like getting players, getting people to do it because, of course, it's quite a big commitment. I mean, I've done a cricket team myself, and it takes all morning.
Yes, true, hard work.
And it is, you know, so, I mean, luckily my good ladies helped me, you know, and we will probably do one again this year, or a couple this year, but, you know, it's hard work, but it is... You're quite right, though, that you know that view of playing on a village green, cricket tea, and it being a real village thing, I think is tremendous, actually, and it's still one of the biggest parts of playing for Hanslope, I think.
Yeah, sure. But what's the best part about being in a club like Hanslope?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is it is a proper village team. And, you know, if I look at the... we had indoor nets last night, actually, and... I'm not saying everybody, but no, majority of the people either lived or grew up in the village. You know, it's a proper village cricket team, and you know we take on all abilities. So if anyone actually likes cricket, they'll get a game, and that's the really good thing about the team. And you know, we always want to strive to be that because ultimately the point of the village cricket club is for the village. You know, and that's the brilliant part of it. That over the years we've maintained the fact that it's still a village cricket team, not been like a nomadic team. So there are a number of teams who were trying to join our league this year, but actually didn't have a ground.
Oh, okay,
weird, isn't it? And so we had a lot of people saying, well, you know, they'd phone me up and said, well, Ben, Hanslope, you've got a ground, can we share you? no, because it's really for the village. That's the whole point.
Sure.
We've had the rec, and it's for the village. It's not really for anybody else.
Tell us about where we play on the rec. Of course, it's had many changes over recent years. Of course,
that's right. Yeah,
and it is hard work maintaining a wicket.
Well, because we have to do it ourselves, right? And so we share the rec with the football team and Hornets, and we are responsible for. The strip. So when you play cricket, you've got to have a proper wicket, and the key thing, it has to be flat, has to be mowed, pretty much bare. Right?
Yeah.
And we've got Will, who does a great job as our groundsman. He's done it for many years. But we all have to pitch in and help. I'll be seen in the summer on a Thursday night, going up and down the wicket on our roller.
Yeah.
Because you'll have to pitch in. That's the way it is. Because ultimately you want it as and I'm a batsman. I still play. You want the wicket to be flat.
Yeah.
And you want it to be good, and so you don't want to be in there with a bumpy bit of grass, shall we say?
Sure. When's the season start?
Well, the season starts. We've got the first game. We play our local rivals in a pre-season friendly, so that's the last weekend in April, and then we play every Saturday then through May through August. And then we've got some friendlies in September just to end the season.
Okay. So who's the local rival?
Castlethorpe.
Okay. Tell us what the rivalry's like.
Annoyingly, they're a little bit better than us. I mean, when I first started, they had actually folded as a team, and so I think they started up at some point in the late 90s again, and so we've played them pretty much every year. I mean, when we play them in pre-season friendlies, which we try to do as always the sort of the season opener, we actually do quite well. Yeah, but as I say, they obviously of course, a small village.
Yep.
So they bring lots of people from outside, right? So it's a slightly different setup.
Oh, they're outsiders, ringers.
Well, you could put it that way.
Okay. Well, this is a Hanslope show podcast, right? They can start their own podcast. If they want
indeed,
to.
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So end of April, that's when the season starts.
Yeah.
You're doing winter nets as well.
Yeah. So we're doing indoor nets at the moment at Radcliffe School. On a Wednesday night, and then that'll continue till the first Wednesday in April, and after that we'll start outdoor nets on a Thursday night in a brand new net facility we'll have at the rec.
Yes, of course. Now I was going to say about the facilities in terms of I mentioned before the rec's undergone many changes over recent years, but the introduction of the nets is fantastic, isn't it?
It's a real game changer, actually. So we've had the AstroTurf again since the late 90s. We never really had a net to come around. So of course, when other people sharing the rec, you've got to be careful and say, okay, and so you can't always use it. Now we've got the net facility is fantastic. It really is, and it means we can go over there, we can do it ourselves, and because there's two nets as well. You can have all the different abilities. So you can have like the youngsters in one net and us older people, shall we say.
Sure.
Older, I would say professionals, but we're not professional, in the other net. So that works really well.
And in terms of bringing on the youth of the village to those nets, is there a plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a youth team at the moment because we don't have the numbers. But my nephew, for example, plays. He's I think he's 17. Or will be 17 later in the year. So what we're trying to do with the youth is we have a lot of midweek friendlies. And we sort of play Tuesday or Thursday night normally. What we try to do is actually make those a bit more youth-centric, if you know what I mean. So anyone or the young lads who want to come up, want to play, actually, we'll get you a game initially, in those midweek games. Then, if you want to, come and play for our league team on a Saturday.
Brilliant. Get them while they're young.
Exactly.
That's it. I must mention that I have played for the cricket team.
You have indeed, yes.
And I've been out a few times, but there was start of the season. I can't remember what year it was. It was a few years ago.
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. And give me your side of the story of what happened on that fateful day.
On that fateful day. So we were playing at the rec.
Yes.
And Trev was fielding, I think, at mid-on. And for those of you who aren't cricket aficionados, mid-on is basically fairly close to the bowler.
Yes.
The ball was played out to Trev, and I don't know how he did it, but he actually fell on the ball.
Yes.
Fell
sort of rolled onto the ball, really.
Yeah. I got up in quite a bit of pain, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Now, I was playing at the time. I was wicket-keeper, and I didn't know how bad you were.
No.
So what happens when someone gets injured in the field is you tend to move, you then go into what we call slip, and slip is effectively second next to the wicketkeeper behind the stumps.
Yeah.
So you came, I think you stood next to me, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So, in quite pain.
Indeed. So I'm a bit half sharp, and I didn't quite realise how much pain you're in. So I think it was the next ball or a couple of balls later, the ball came through to me, and what you do as a wicketkeeper, you throw the ball once you collect it to the person who's first slipped.
That's it.
So I threw the ball to you.
Yes.
And I'm not saying what you said to me at that point in time.
I'd totally forgotten this, by the way.
The language was choice,
yes,
I think
it was.
It's fair to say. And so I really didn't know how bad you were. and then very short after, you went off to hospital, didn't you?
I went. So this is how it works on village cricket. I took myself in my own car, drove myself to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so here's a little backstory, by the way, and good advice, is that if you ever go to hospital with a broken rib or an injury around there, is that eat beetroot in the morning. Now, I had a beetroot salad before I started. Weirdly, I quite like beetroot. Don't hold it against me. And so I got to the hospital, and they saw the pain I was in. They said, "Look, give us a sample, because of course it might have damaged something in that region." And obviously, eating beetroot, it showed up really red. So they got me straight through into be seen without waiting in A&E for hours.
Really?
So that's the best bit about this story in terms of so eat beetroot on your way to the hospital, and you'll be seen quicker than maybe you should be. But I had broken 2 ribs.
You had, yeah.
And I think I lasted 4 overs of that season. And still to this day, though, I have now weak ribs. I broke them again last year by rolling onto a brick in my back garden. Don't
Obviously.
ask me. Weird story. But yes, so my injuries still live with me to this day.
And I made it worse.
There
you go. I made it worse.
It's probably you actually that caused my weak rib scenario.
Yeah, so it's my fault. I did actually feel guilty at the time. I genuinely didn't know how bad it was.
Well, listen, it is really good fun being a part of a club in the village, and especially cricket as well, because let's hope for a decent summer in terms of weather. Although actually, as we record this, we're on a really stormy, windy, wet night, and it doesn't feel like the season is around the corner, but it really is.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, we were netting last night, and I said to one of the other guys, it's not going to be like this when we get on in May, is it? Because I mean, obviously, we play on uncovered wickets, and when it's as wet as it has been, and it's been a wettest year so far, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So in living memory, it's going to be, the ball is going to be very low when it. So.
Very true. So listen, tell us about how people can get involved and be part of the club, and a brilliant club.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so we've got a site on Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's sort of contact details in there. I mean, obviously, if you're interested in coming into our nets, just come up. I say it's from 6:30 in Radcliffe School in Wolverton, and it's the old hall as well. So for those of you who've been in the Village of Wild, there's a nice new hall. Yeah. We're in the older one, which is quite nice. Actually, we do it to ourselves.
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
So come up. We've got that from 6:30 till 7:45. We've got another 3 weeks of indoor nets, and I say then we'll be up, weather permitting, of course, on every Thursday night during the summer. Okay. So just come along.
So every Thursday night from what time?
As early as we can.
Yeah.
I mean, I would always say 6:30. We try and get there for 6, but of course work is obviously dependent on that. So I'd always say from 6:30.
Okay, so Thursday night from 6:30 in the nets on the rec.
Yeah.
The wonderful new
new nets. Yes.
Yeah. And then of course, if you're around on Saturday afternoon, listen. If you can't play, then come up and watch.
Come watch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we get a few people up there watching. You always get more during the hotter climbs, so around mid-year we always get more people than we do necessarily in May, but that's all to be expected, really.
Sure. And the teams that you play during the summer, how far do you go?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Yeah. So we play in the South Northants League, and which is a lovely league, actually. It's basically villages, and they go out towards Banbury, Brackley, and there's a couple actually in Milton Keynes this year as well.
You go for a beer afterwards? Where do you go?
Absolutely,
Where do you go?
So well, it depends. So what we do is we try and get sponsorship from either the club or the Watts or the Cox. We haven't necessarily sorted that yet, but normally we go for a beer afterwards. Yeah.
Well, good luck for the season.
Yeah, thank you.
I might actually come along to one of the nets this year.
You should.
I haven't played since my fateful
you haven't.
Rib injury.
Yeah,
although I'm not sure I'm fit enough. My rib can't stand it. Another rollover. But look, Ben, thanks ever so much.
No, thank you.
And good luck for the season.
Yes, thank you very much.
Wonderful. We've had cricket, the Parish Council, and our new sponsor, Hague Property Professionals, on the podcast this month. And it could be you next time. Please get in touch. Trevor@thisismyfilm.com, or drop me a message through Facebook and we'll get you on soon. Lots of events happening in the village over the summer. We'll try and cover as many of them as we possibly can, but we need your help. Get in touch.
The Hanslope Show podcast. It's all about Hanslope.